Starting a new chapter. The protagonist grabs someone by the head, dragging them forcefully. The person whispers in terror, while he simply says that he has won. Someone reprimands him, saying, "Prince Belka, stop fighting so dirty." However, our boy just says that it was his instructor who asked him to give everything he could do, and if has not satisfied, then go ahead and find a new job. Your instructor, annoyed, turns his back, saying so be it. I will do it myself. He was resigned to being a master sword instructor. The king of Reeds, from where the hero who saved the people of this land that was once shrouded in darkness came. Your instructor, after withdrawing, punches the tree while cursing the insolent student. He had treated him like royalty, as he should be, and yet he treats him this way, calling the protagonist a mere bastard son of a dancer. Our boy just listens to the insults, commenting that he can hear everything. He is a descendant of the king, the one who rules this country alongside the lords of the Round Table Council. His history teachers always reminded him how great an honor it is to carry the blood of the great hero king. Everyone around him says the same things. After some time, he meets an acquaintance who says, laughing, "So you defeated your sword instructor again. You're really causing quite a stir, aren't you, Prince Belka?" He retorts by saying that the instructor was too weak, that his sword style was trash and useless. The blond man questions the young prince's attitude, asking where he learned to use so many profanities. To which the protagonist replies that it was from him and his pornography books, causing a comical scene of terror on the soldier's face. Our boy says that he likes being near the infantry and that the mercenaries from a Stelian fight in a practical way, which pleases him. Just commenting that it would be better if no one had to die, the soldier replies that they just need to become stronger. He then questions why the protagonist is there, who responds that, after all, there is no one they can talk to. While the soldier cleans the sword, our boy questions if there is a possibility to avoid the war, if the achievement at least takes the responsibility to think about it. Because this future was not made for him. In the future, your brother will be crowned. Your brother Hector will become the king, and as the second prince, there is still Prince Orchelaio. For him, there is only the option of being forever trapped in this castle. He cannot even visit his own father. He believes he is out of options. The mercenary questions why he cannot visit his father. Our boy comments that they could arrange some assassination or something like that on such occasions. The mercenary feels saddened to hear such words and embraces our boy, who tells him to be careful with the sword in hand. The soldier sets his sword aside and remarks that, since they both managed to survive the plague, they should at least live without regrets. Mother, grandfather, and Her Majesty the Queen all died, and he wouldn't want to die that way. He continued to be afraid of dying, and so they managed to survive the plague that ravaged the kingdom. At that moment, someone interrupts his musings by questioning whether he went out for a walk. They have heard about his tales of triumph and say it is what is expected of the king's bloodline. The man says it is very gracious of her to speak with His Highness, even though he is dressed like a bandit. She says that, as a noble, she owes him this kind of courtesy. He keeps moving. The soldiers notice his movements and talk among themselves. They mention his sword instructor who was fired. Internally, he can no longer live in this place, but he cannot do anything about it, as there are not many jobs beyond here. He couldn't say anything. Two people are talking, one thanking the other for the day and referring to him as professor. This blond young man addresses the prince as Belka, and he quickly recognizes him as Prince Orcelado. But our boy is not in the mood for much conversation and keeps walking. His brother comments that he skipped philosophy classes again, questioning whether he is really taking school seriously. He says it's not his problem, but his brother grabs him saying that's not true, as they are brothers. He knows that our boy would be in trouble if he didn't make the best choices. He comments that their brother Hector would arrive from his trip tomorrow, and he wants to see the progress of his brothers. Our boy just reflects on the crown prince. He remembers that they hadn't seen each other in many years, recalling that he was very kind to him in the past. But he believes he has also changed a lot. He says he understands, as he heard that he would be returning from the colonies soon. His brother adds that this morning news came that he had already arrived at Naka's gates the day before. The second prince says that it seems he will stay there for a while to help with matters of state, and he hopes that his father's health improves a bit. At that moment, a little girl with beautiful hair calls for her older brother with a warm smile. He responds for Muska, referring to her. She, with a noble gesture, shows her new dress, saying she will wear it tomorrow when her older brother, Hector, arrives. Meanwhile, the second prince pays attention to the girl, saying that it looks great. He tells her to show it to Belka as well. Our boy seems disturbed, wanting to leave soon, but the girl just says she doesn't want to. She says it is something new, and that it will be tainted if shown to a bastard like him. Her tutor quickly reprimands her, saying she cannot say such things. She questions why, asking if it is the same as what the nurse commented. She said he is the son of a dancer and is only in the family because of his father's blood. She also remarked on why someone like him should be in the royal lineage. Her second brother reprimands her harshly with a slap to the face. The girl is in shock as he tells her to think better about her words. He asks her to apologize to Belka, saying that even as a princess, it's not acceptable to speak such rude words to people. He cries while calling his brother stupid, and runs away from there. His brother catches up with him, asking him to wait. He apologizes for her and says he will talk to his sister later. He says that his brother Hector is a great person, very kind, and that is why he believes they both need to support him. Reaching out his hand, he smiles gently, saying the two of us together. Even though our boy believes in the well-intentioned words of his brother, he feels that not even he understands that his guards remain in an attack stance at any moment, simply because the two are talking. Meanwhile, in the king's mansion, someone quickly enters and the guard questions the audacity of entering the royal chambers. The person sincerely apologizes for their rudeness, but the lord merely asks them to go ahead. This is Lord Legion. Questioning the health of His Majesty, the man says he is feeling better today. He mentions that he has something to say about the Here, Prince Hector. The royal physician asks him to wait a moment. He reflects that he would prefer not to disturb the council at this point, but he cannot do so now, especially with the news that the Amantil are not human and their descendants are evil elders. Meanwhile, in the city of Favril, in its town hall, the people seem to be very happy with the commotion. A young blond man asks if there is something unusual happening there. She asks if he hasn't heard the news, even though he is a bard. She passionately remarks, with a gleam in her eyes, that Prince Hector is returning. She wonders if he has already chosen a wife. He cheerfully mentions that they say Prince Hector is the reincarnation of the Hero King, and that it has been a long time since coming there was of value to him. Thus, the prince's passage appeared before the citizens of that city, bringing excitement with his exuberant figure. The girl by the window comments on how cool he is and says she would love to be his consort. The bard, indignant, questions if she didn't say she liked him. She responds that before was before and now is now. She releases a slight air of suspicion, increasing the bard's curiosity. She says she thinks she saw an Amantil among the ranks of Prince Hector. She says she's probably seeing things. After all, the royal family would never have monsters with them. He asks if she isn't tired, suggesting they go somewhere else, but he ponders the statement, speculating that it might actually be true, while our boy watches the announcement of his brother's arrival. The second prince and the princess quickly position themselves by his side to congratulate his arrival home. He comments that it's great to be back and that both brothers have grown. From above, our boy just watches, thinking that there will be a feast that day, but he just wants to skip that part and go to sleep. His brother, noticing him up there, waves warmly to the protagonist, saying, "Belka, is that you? It's been a long time since we last saw each other. How are you?" Our boy is just taken aback by the warm reaction. "Why are you acting like this, so cool up there?" Our boy says he's not pretending to be cool. At that moment, his sister bursts in, saying he doesn't need to meddle with the troublemaker. The second prince tells Muska not to act like that again, Hector grabs his sister and asks if the two had an argument. She says, distressed, that they did, but before she finishes her sentence, her eyes widen and her screams echo through the air, drawing everyone's attention. Our boy quickly comes down, questioning what is happening and wondering if it was his sister's voice. He wonders if she did something again. She points to a young man, saying white hair, red eyes. She screams, terrified, because there is a bundle here. The second brother comments that, even though the Amantil are obedient slaves in the capital districts, they are not allowed here without being chained. Soon, everyone questions the meaning of a heap in that place. The boy sincerely apologizes to Prince Hector for the incident. He said that everything is fine with Muska, affirming that the boy is with him. The soldiers quickly question, as they kneel with all due respect, Your Highness, but the Amantil are not human. Given the circumstances, we need to hear an explanation about this. He quickly says that they are right. He expected to think longer about it before telling everyone. He believes that they should also recognize the Amantil as human. He says he will bring this issue to the next council, which leaves everyone shocked, including our protagonist. Meanwhile, the Lord complains, calling Hector a fool. He had gone too far. He says he will tell His Majesty about it later. They need to teach the boy how the world works. The noble beside him comments that they should calm down and at least hear what His Majesty has to say. The Lord asks for the elders to be summoned for a board council. Our boy realizes that he hasn't seen the Crown Prince since that day and wonders if the council has already begun. He already imagined that his brother would have changed over the years, but besides becoming a strange person. Among all the things he could do, standing by the Amantil, what the hell is he thinking? I can't take much longer. I think he'll take the books back to him and do some sparring training. He heads towards the mercenaries' camp, but upon arrival, he hears something that catches his attention. One of them questions how long he intends to entertain that boy. The friend of our boy asks who, and the other one mentions him, Prince Belka. The mercenary in question says he has nothing to do since no wars are being fought at the moment and questions if there's any problem with that. The man says it's a big problem, because if the boy keeps coming there, they could be accused of plotting a rebellion. He would be suspected even if he were innocent. Another mercenary agrees with that, asking if they know what nickname the soldiers have given him. While our boy is there listening, the man says, the usurper. The men continue to talk, and with all the confusion happening now, if something goes wrong with the succession of the Crown Prince, things will no longer be fun. Our boy goes on his way, questioning this nickname they've given him. He kicks the wall, asking if they think he could do everything alone like that. It is at this moment that our boy dodges a sword strike that would have been fatal. The boy's former teacher questions why he dodged, and he wonders what he was looking for there, and if he shouldn't have quit already. The former teacher says that it's all his fault, that he has now been expelled from the Order of the Knights, and his life is ruined. He lashes out, blaming our boy, but realizes the danger when the attacker starts using a real sword technique, not something from training. He questions whether the man understands what he is doing. The former teacher just tells him to go to hell, saying that even if he dies, no one will mourn his death. With a strong attack, he advances towards our boy. He narrowly dodges, causing his face to bleed. He realizes that this is no longer like training and that if he doesn't take it seriously, he will die. But when he tries to fight back, his sword is taken from his hands. At that moment, a sadistic smile fills the former teacher's lips, who tells him to hurry up and die already. He remembers the mercenary's words, who said it was better if no one had to die. The sword was about to strike our hero when his brother, the Crown Prince, ended that confrontation. He appeared at the last moment, blocking the tutor's strike and separating the two. The man is shocked to find the Crown Prince in front of him, while our boy is shocked. Later, the first prince orders the guards to take him to prison. The prince says to let him cool off and that he will deal with him later. Our boy thinks that, in the end, there was nothing he could do, recalling scenes from the past. He formally thanks his brother, emphasizing that he would be dead if he hadn't intervened. With a warm smile, he says he will always be there to help him. After all, he is his older brother first, even before being the crown prince. These words catch our boy by surprise. He breaks the ice by saying he ran away from the argument he had with the elders, and it was a good time to do so. Then, our boy reflects on the reason he is there. His brother questions what is wrong with the way Belka has been speaking. Our boy says it's appropriate, since he is a bastard son of a concubine. His brother gets angry at this statement, questioning what he thinks, that he shouldn't think that way, and that he knew something was wrong. This place is not good for him. Both sit down and talk about the possibility of leaving and trying to study elsewhere. Our boy questions what he means by that, and he responds that it means leaving there, learning, and having some fun, saying that there are things he will never be able to experience if he stays. Not to mention the many cute girls out there. He says he also found someone he would like to be his wife. Our boy is perplexed, saying that it is great news and questioning which noble house she would be from. His brother asks him to stop the polite speech by his side while pinching him. He says she is one of those people they call a montel, leaving our boy extremely perplexed and confused. The protagonist asks if this would be possible, and he says yes, that this is how the world is. The first principle insists on the way the world is, and that everything in it can be changed. And he smiles, saying that he will challenge everything in the future. He says he won't force him into anything, but asks him to go ahead and learn many different things. Internally, our boy feels good about it. And his brother adds, "So, can you tell me what you think?" At that moment, another man appears, saying it's already time. He realizes that the moment for round 2 against the elders has come. Calling for Belka, he asks to meet on the next day they have off, questioning if he could show the so-called secret books he borrowed from the Estelian folks. Our embarrassed boy asks how he knows this. His brother simply says he has his ways. The protagonist faces the reality. He is truly someone different, even from Prince Orselado, and it is this person who will become the future king. He questions whether this country will be surrounded by this kind of atmosphere, and that, if this really happens, he might be able to stand by his brother to offer his support and, perhaps, even take advantage of it and continue living there. The following week, on the day of rest, our boy waited for his brother, thinking he was late. He goes to find out if something happened when he hears screams around the mansion about something involving the Hair Prince. People are urgently calling for a doctor. He arrives next to his brother, who is bleeding, questioning what is wrong, asking him to hold on. However, his brother only questions again this polite way of speaking, leaving our boy anguished about the future. After that day, all our boy could imagine was that it was a crazy dream. Orselito, the king's son, received an eternal passage. May he rest in peace in the heavens and watch over us. May this cleanse all diseases, by the sacred fire passed down from ancient times. He kept imagining that he needed to wake up soon. And going to the place where my brother is waiting for me, the little princess questioned Orselito, as this was strange, since her older brother would feel hot if they lit the fire. He tried to explain that her brother had fallen ill, and that was why she kept asking if he would get better soon. Our boy just listened quietly from the side. So, Muska started to run, saying that she would set fire herself to help her brother. She grabbed the torches from the hands of the priests. Our boy was incredulous while the others told him to go back, that it was dangerous. Suddenly, without him realizing it, his clothes caught fire. Everyone screamed in panic that their clothes were on fire. They told her to quickly go to the water. In a panic, the girl didn't know what to do. It was then that a big splash was heard quickly. Not understanding, she looked to the side, just to realize that our boy had quickly brought her to keep her safe. She questioned what he was doing. He retorted, asking if she wanted to die too. Angry, she said to him, "How dare you speak in such a rude manner?" The people around her quickly wiped her body, asking if she was all right, but she remained uncertain about what had happened. They also questioned what happened, since the fly didn't hurt him, so there are no problems. After the noble funeral, our boy was in one of the castle's towers, thinking that tomorrow would be the day when the state guests would be called for the funeral rites. He wondered if his brother was truly no longer in this world. "I don't think studying abroad is going to happen anymore." It was when he heard his name being called from somewhere. Confused, he tried to look for someone. He began to think that he would be trapped again in that castle, and once again someone called him by name. Looking up, he saw his brother Orcelido leaning on the castle, descending by tied pillowcases. But then, with a slight slip, his hand came loose. He fell on top of the protagonist, apologizing for it. Our boy, furious, asked what the hell he was doing, but soon realized that his manners were getting out of control. His brother thanked him for everything he did today for Muska, thanked him for having saved her. He, frustrated, couldn't understand why his brother couldn't use a door like any normal person. He apologized, saying he needed to leave through the window. The guards said that if it was just to say thank you, they would say it themselves. He quickly understood, saying that now that his brother was gone, he would be the next crown prince. Our boy imagined that it would become even harder for him to live in that castle from then on, commenting that it would become increasingly difficult for him to get clothes like this. Orcelido said that they needed to help each other to make the country a better place from then on. Taking his hand, he said it would be logical, since they are brothers, but our boy had already told him that many times, saying to stay away, as no one in this castle would want him involved in politics. Turning away, he leaves Orcelido speechless and continues, saying that these are just sweet words. However, he ended up getting irritated by being next to him. The young boy seemed to be sad about the situation, but, despite the frustration, our boy kept going, thinking that he had ended up taking it out on him. Soon, his brother continued chasing after him, and he became bothered by this, wondering why he was being followed. He found an underground passage, thinking he wouldn't be followed, but his brother didn't give up. He questioned what was wrong with him, even being a prince. He couldn't understand. He thought about hiding there, but when he opened the door, he was shocked. He wondered what the smell he was sensing was, thought he shouldn't open that door, and had a bad feeling. His brother arrived right behind him and questioned why that place reeked so much. He said it was an important place, made to honor their ancestors, and that it would be bad if it wasn't clean. He looks for lights to turn on, so he can see if there's anyone around. His brother tries to hold him back from opening the door, saying they should return to their rooms, but Orcelido doesn't understand. It was the royal family's duty to take care of that place. As he looks, he notices a body there while blood flows across the floor, a true scene of horror. Orcelido fell to his knees, questioning what was happening there. Our boy questions if he is okay, but Orcelido feels suffocated thinking about how cruel they could be. Below, he sees a glass with part of the person's skin. He is shocked when he notices the color. His brother Orcelido quickly says that it is a non-human. The protagonist asks if he can get up, but then carries him, saying they need to get out of there as soon as possible. But it seemed that something was following them from that room. Orcelido questioned the Amantiaes and why their blood is red, commenting that the composition of their bodies is very different from that of humans. Our boy said that the ancient evil created them according to its own tastes. Orcelido retorts that if they also feel pain, this kind of thing cannot be accepted. Ascending the stairs, our boy comments that he is exactly like his older brother. He says he believed they were the exact opposite, but in the end, they are the same. He claims he can carry on by himself, and then tells our boy that since he believes he is similar to his older brother, he should be able to do things on his own. Our boy is impressed, as he seems to be doing well by this point. Still, they could not understand this place. Upon opening the door, they found themselves in a space that resembled a small church, realizing that this was where that place was taking them. They soon realize that they are outside the village's lands, and that they can return there if they pass through the forest. Orcelido realizes that this is the first time he has talked for so long, and the protagonist agrees. He also comments that our boy hasn't asked him to speak politely so far, reminding him of what his brother told him, that it would be strange for siblings of the same age to speak to each other politely, and at that time he didn't understand the reason for the words. But, speaking in this way, it makes him feel much better. Our boy rudely retorts, "Don't be ridiculous. You're the crown prince now. I won't be able to get close enough to speak to you again." But he asks that, from then on, they can talk that way. Our boy questions why, and he doesn't understand it internally. Soon, Orsolito asks, even if it's just between them, why others have to decide about it. But his brother doesn't understand. It must be something that was decided a long time ago. Orsolito feels he should find out the reason. And also if this can be changed, and if so, he would like to do it. Our boy questions whether he really thinks something like this can be changed. Orsolito asks why he always acts this way, but our boy says that maybe he would also like to know why things are this way. In a gesture of affection, they touch hands, commenting that if they are going to investigate, it's perfectly fine for them to do it together, just as they left that place not long ago. That's when then a noise comes from inside, and when Orsolito is about to question it, the protagonist asks him to be quiet. The voice soon remarks that the door is there, which means that those people came hidden through the passage, especially at this time of night. They peek through the window and see two figures, questioning what they are talking about. Orsolito realizes it is the voice of Sir Lajan and Sir Orbis. Our boy notices that they are the elders. Orsolito comments that they don't need to spy, as they should just go inside and have a conversation, but our boy interrupts, saying someone else has arrived, calling him father. The person says the goods were just boxed up some time ago. Those monsters don't tell me it is something very insolent to allow them to participate in funeral rites. The other man notices his presence, commenting that he did a good job and that this time they had an unexpectedly good harvest, something good enough, since they had help with the loading. Especially young women can be sold for high prices. Anyway, it was a fitting punishment for someone who tried to become more than they should, but well, isn't that enough? Orsolito questioned if they were talking about the Amanto. Soon they realized it was what they had seen before. A nobleman went to his father, saying that he must be tired. His father commented that he had imagined the boy could be useful and that studying outside the capital was not something they could allow to be done. The other man commented about the prince, commenting that they can't let the illness become chronic for much longer, they can't use the same method for now, and they will allow the king to live a little longer. These words affect both of them, demonstrating the grim scenario to which they were subjected. Our boy, perplexed, questions what they are talking about and if it was them who killed his brother. He erupts in deep hatred. Your uncontrollable brother clenches his fists and walks. Our boy tries to stop him while the guys keep talking. The tutor, the nurses, they are all careless. Soon this person will turn around, saying they have been discovered and need to get rid of someone. Meanwhile, our boys are running. His brother questions why they are running, as he has the right to question them. Our boy says that this was not something the royal family should have heard and that, now, it's better to pretend they know nothing. They must flee to the forest and take advantage of the darkness, but his brother stops, letting go of his hand. At that moment, their pursuers advance quickly, and his brother comments that he is not doing anything wrong. He turns towards the attackers, questioning who they work for and if they don't know who he is. They soon realize it is the crown prince, but their arrows can no longer be stopped. Our boy panics. Taking the lead, he runs towards the crown prince and throws him in the opposite direction of the arrows. He thanks his brother for saving him, but then he notices our boy leaning against the cliff, with an arrow lodged in his back. This is bad, he's going to fall. When he is about to ask for help, someone interrupts halfway. Our boy complains about being stupid and the situation he got himself into. His brother runs to try to help, questioning why neither of them is doing anything, but they remain there, motionless, just watching. The figure tells the prince that it is not good to explore in the middle of the night. Our boy recognizes the voice as the same one from the chapel earlier. The person continues, saying that, even though they are brothers, It would be better for him to stop associating with someone of such a different status. His brother questions what they are doing there, and asks them to help him quickly. He questions whether they cannot understand what he is saying, but the person continues to say that he should choose better people by his side from now on. He commits to it, but they ask him to help them. The Lord says he liked the answer. The moment he says he would help, his hands loosen, and our guy starts to fall off the cliff. The prince watches his fall, tears in his eyes. He sees his brother falling into the abyss. Our boy, fated, can only think that this time it is he who will leave. After hearing the impact, the crown prince goes into shock, knowing that his brother is dying. Some time later, the crown prince was at the royal mansion. He soon hears his captor approaching from behind and curses him. "Are you saying that I need to become a puppet of the council? Especially at a time like this, you shameless scoundrel." The young man retorts, saying that it is not necessary for him to behave that way. What he is trying to express is that they need to join forces for the progress of their country. But the boy advances mercilessly, shouting the man's name. The soldiers, seeing the reaction, quickly move to stop him. He questions if this is a way to treat the royal family. Legion comments that the prince seems to be tired, so he will take his leave. He again tries to argue about his brother, questioning if they found him, but the no as a response makes his expression darken. Legion says that, even after all their efforts, they did not find him. After leaving, one of his men questions what they should do about this situation. After a sigh, he comments that there was a lot of blood where he fell, and that he seems unable to survive. Perhaps his body was devoured by beasts. He does not want comments about death to spread from the royal family. They need to find Belka's belongings in the places he used to frequent. If, somehow, he is still alive, he must be captured soon, before he starts saying unnecessary things. Regarding the prince, he questions the man. Legion tells him to keep him in his room, and that what they used on Hector seems not to have worked. But they will try to use it on him now, to bring the boy under control. Meanwhile, in a house in the mountains, our boy was resting and recovering from his recent wounds. A pot on the stove was heating up a meal. Upon waking, he questions where he is and why this room looks dirty, wondering if he fell asleep in the mercenaries' tents. When he realizes that this is not the case, he gets up, surprised to find a blonde person in front of him who greets him with a good morning and says it's time for breakfast. Our boy looks surprised and asks what is happening and if he is dreaming. He comments on the food, saying it is just bare meat and that it is delicious. He questions this and whether it is really edible. But soon he realizes the pain in his body, wondering where it is. The person there comments that it's better for him not to move too much, since it seems a miracle that he is still alive. When he fell, a bear cushioned his fall and died in his place. That's why he should accept the food and serve himself properly, not discarding the creature's meat. Soon he introduces himself, saying his name is Echo. He rents this cabin during the winter, is a bard and a traveling student. He asks the name of our boy, who seems to think that the person does not recognize him, questioning whether he was taken back near the palace. Questioning where this place is, they soon hear knocks at the door. There, some soldiers say that, by order of His Majesty the King, they are conducting a search, saying that a rebel, using the name of Prince Belka, has fled through the mountains and cannot be forgiven for stealing the treasures from the royal tome. It would be better not to become an accomplice. Eco quickly walks away, saying that they will break the door if they keep going like this, and that the district soldiers are frightening. Our boy questions which district they are in, and he replies that they are in the mountains surrounding the villa palace. Then, our boy realizes that the elders have not found him since then, and yet they would use any means necessary to find him, so they could keep their secrets in the dark. At that moment the soldiers kick the door, and upon opening it, they find the booth empty. Our boy questions, but Echo just tells him to be quiet. The guards say they might be hiding as they search the house. Echo questions if the person they are looking for is him, commenting that he believes this will make a good song. Soon they talk about searching inside, drawing the protagonist's attention. He says they easily found the two there and that it won't work, but Iko, resolute, asserts that they won't know if they don't try. They found a room with a door. They walk towards the location. But soon someone bursts in questioning what they intend to break into a place while no one is home. He questions what those little squirrels are looking for. The guards get annoyed, talking about his insolence, but the man approaches, ordering them to quickly fix the door they broke. The two hidden ones are surprised by the situation. Because of his witch hunt, my childhood home is ruined. The men try to engage in dialogue, but he keeps mumbling. Soon, they give up and leave. While he questions whether they will fix the broken door, the guards only ask him to let them know if he sees anyone suspicious there. After they leave, Echo introduces the man, the owner of the rented cabin. The old man says he has just finished the preparations for winter and will spend some time away until spring. The old man comments that they must have a good reason for this, not to mention that our boy doesn't seem to be a rebel, so he should stay to recover. Echo comments that it was very close and that they were almost caught. The protagonist questions whether they realize what they are doing, since someone is being pursued by the soldiers of the country. Echo just contemplates, while the old man says they are in the mountains, and that there they have different tales, therefore they are more open-minded. He says that after spring comes summer, and that nature will decide. It is different from the decisions made by humans, which change from time to time. That is why he does not believe that the people at the top are always right. They need to think for themselves and make their own decisions, without regrets. The old man asks if something is wrong. Our boy just lowers his head, thinking this is what his brother would normally say. The gentleman approaches, saying that he will get better soon and that then he will be able to show his face again. He bids farewell, saying he will see them in the spring and asking them to take care of the cabin for him. But our boy reflects that his brother defied the council and lost. He questions that he, just like his brother Orsolito and his father, cannot escape from this cage. Echo appears with hot food, saying that they heated it up again. Our boy argues that he sleeps ignorant, that Echo knows nothing of the world, saying that he doesn't need it and to leave him alone, but irritated, Echo says that he is harsh with his words and tells him to at least be a little more grateful. Echo pulls our boy close to him, saying that in the end, he is a prince. He states the full name, as well as being the third hair prince, saying that the pendant in his hair is proof of the crown's succession and that the 3 leaves show his lineage to the throne. Our boy grows restless with these words. Questioning who the hell he is and believing that Echo has some intention there, our laughing boy says that he is nothing but a nuisance in the castle and that he is now a wanted criminal. If they found him, they would kill him. Echo is intrigued by his words, questioning what he is talking about, but our boy remains irritated, telling Echo to shut up. He grabs him, questioning why he saved him. Since your only choice is to live and die there, according to their wishes, it would have been better if you had just died. Echo comments that he has no idea what is happening and tells him not to feel so miserable since he seems to have already done his best. Wouldn't it be easier to try to change his situation? He replies that if it were possible, he would have already done it. Echo responds with a smile that it is exactly as he said. It seems that, in the end, he did not try to do anything after all, just like before. He asks what Echo knows, and he responds that he knows nothing, but that he can give him everything he has always wanted. He apologizes for treating his wounds unnecessarily. Our boy is being grabbed by the neck. Echo, with a smile, says that it's useless to resist in these conditions, especially since he will be buried in this place. That way, the people looking for him will never find him. Our boy questions if this is where he will die. He feels tired and accepts it. In his mind, he sees himself in memories with Orsolito. His brother smiles at him. He then remembers when he tried hard to hold on to him, saying he would never give up on him. Only then did he realize that his brother was an idiot, and that he would never become a puppet for the elders. This way, he would end up being killed. At that moment, he regains consciousness and pushes Echo away, saying he doesn't want anyone else to have to die. He coughs due to the recent choking. Echo feels pain from the punch he received. He thought he was speaking the truth, and that he really wanted to die, but he ended up getting punched. Iko apologizes, saying he's going to chop some wood. He also tells him to eat something soon, if he wants. The protagonist realizes that, in the end, he really was trying to kill him, so he should have killed him earlier. Soon his expression changes, thinking that he wants to see his brother Orsolito, but he questions what he will do when he manages to do that. He plans to tell him not to go against the elders, especially since they will try to get rid of him before he can meet. He looks at Iko chopping wood outside and remembers his words about not having done anything to start. Realizes that the words are real. He gets out of bed, thinking that, in the end, he really didn't try to do anything. While Iko continues with the firewood, our boy borrows some clothes until he finds his shirt, wondering why there are ribbons on all the bard's clothes. Seeing the plate of food on the table, he goes to her, hoping that it isn't poisoned, but remembers that the Lord also ate. Soon he tastes it, thinking that the food is good, and he believed that outside the castle there wouldn't be hot food like this. Iko returns questioning whether he is still awake and if he has eaten, but he does not see the protagonist inside. He finds a letter that thanks him for helping. He left some items to pay for his hospitality, but Iko only questions the fact that he descended the mountain under those conditions. On the northern edge of the Cooklant forest, two hunters remark to each other that it is a lucky day since they found an amantel on this trail. The other one comments that it would be better if it were a female. As they discuss its selling value, something interrupts their thoughts. Arrows are shot into the tree that was next to you. A shadow under the moonlight bursts forth, welcoming the forest of magic, referring to them as people from the stone capital. An archer lurks in a tree above. They run upon realizing there is another amantel there, and that they are comrades. Seeing that there could be more of them nearby, they quickly retreat. Some time later, one of them calls for Shingetsu, questioning why he returned from the sacred land. He responds by saying that it is not good, as all those who went to the royal tombs have not yet returned. The first one calls them fools, saying that now that Hector has left, they have no plans to accept the amantel among themselves. He is sad, questioning why Hector left so soon. Shingetsu comments that perhaps Hector's wish could have reached them. But the answer is that there is no longer any way to fight against them now. I finally arrived. Our boy reached the gates of the Villa Palace, in the city of his district. He thinks that, if he can get through the city and reach the entrance of the palace, he will be able to talk to Orsolito. He notices a soldier happily commenting that all these good souls are visiting the capital to pray for Hector's soul and thanks everyone for the long journey they have undertaken. Then he realizes that, with all this crowd, he could pass unnoticed by the guards. The guards line up the people who would like to enter the place, commenting that only one search will be conducted for a suspicious person. Our boy then becomes incredulous upon hearing this, knowing they are after him in this situation. Soon, someone calls for his attention. The soldiers shout that no one can pass without a permit, questioning if the person is with the rebel. The man replies, saying he just has no money. The soldier says that, in this case, he can come another time and that the city isn't going anywhere. But the man says his daughter is sick and that if he doesn't hurry, she will die. The soldiers become alert, saying he is suspicious. They soon claim he is with the rebel and order to seize him, even as the man insists it is not true. The soldiers shoot him there, while our boy witnesses it all. People comment that there is no way, as the soldiers had fixed their eyes on the person, and it was their fault since they tried to enter without being caught at the gate. But, as they simply did not want to get involved, the person kept trying to pass. The protagonist wondered what was wrong with him, feeling bad about the situation and for not having kept control up to that point. A voice echoes around the gate, saying that it is already enough, there is no way this weak-old man can be a rebel, and they should keep that in mind. Our boy thinks it is because of his brother Orsolito and that strange bard. They question who he is and whether he is with the old man, but our boy mentions that he doesn't know who the old man is. However, if money is what is needed to get through there, then that should be enough for the two of them. He throws the ring, and the soldier immediately realizes that it is a real gemstone. They become uneasy, but allow the two to pass with permission. People realize it was a good show, and that it's like in the stories, a noble from somewhere traveling in disguise. Suddenly, the soldier notices something on the ring. The other questions whether it's fake, but he says it belongs to the royal crown. Our boy had already passed through the gate. He tries to calm himself because he tested his luck in a very dangerous way back there. Suddenly, the soldiers turn in his direction, asking him to wait, saying that only the royal family is authorized to use the design of the two lions, claiming that he is the rebel who stole the royal toms. He is in shock, thinking that he will have to leave soon, but that seems impossible under these conditions. Looking at the people around him, he thinks that even if he reaches the palace, it doesn't mean he is safe. Watch your words, I will not tolerate such recklessness. The soldiers question what he said. He thought about it, then revealed himself as Belka, the third prince of the Nocturcus royal family. He returned to meet Orsolito. He turns to the soldiers and orders them to escort him to the palace. They hesitate for a moment, but the soldiers talk among themselves, questioning why they hadn't been informed that the rebel was using Prince Belka's name. However, they see the pendant, which is a symbol of succession. Another soldier comments that he must have stolen the symbol of succession as well. So the soldiers turn to arrest him and interrogate him personally. He panics as he realizes this is not going to work. As he dodges, he thinks that he's unarmed and his body is not in the best state to fight. But soon something falls on the soldier's head, and they stop, questioning why it is raining gold coins. Soon, many coins begin to fall from the bridge above them. The people witnessing this start running towards the wealth. Above them, a merchant looks upset as the wheel of his cart broke. He roars for them not to take his gold, but it's too late. People run, saying it's a blessing from the king, and that it is raining gold. The guards can no longer do anything. Meanwhile, someone grabs the protagonist's hand and pulls him close. The person calls themselves the Defender of Justice and says they are happy to see him well. This is our bard colleague. He pulls our boy even knowing he is hurt, and says he will take him to a safe place. Echo feels sad that he doesn't remember his name, and our guy just calls him Bear Person. Meanwhile, the elders discuss the fact that they were unable to find Belka before his departure. They comment that he may already be dead. Because of him, they lost an important pawn. The Lord apologizes to his father, who then tells them to leave it for now, saying that there will be another opportunity to prove his worth. Saying to prove that your child is worth more than this. Meanwhile, the city guards search for the rebel, saying that he escaped. Then, let them search house by house and every corner of the village alley. They approach two ladies and comment that they will search the house. One of them comments that they are violent scum, saying that no one there is guilty of anything. They then hurry to search the house, while someone thinks and comments that, since Prince Orsolito and the rest of the royal family are now in the palace, they need to protect Santa. One of the soldiers approaches, questioning what is wrong with this lady. Another girl comments that she is a fan of Prince Orsolito, and it seems she was shocked to learn that the prince returned home, calming the guard. They finish their search, saying they didn't find anyone suspicious and head to another location. They say they will return there. And next time, as a customer, so you can have some time with this young lady. Right after they leave, our boy feels bad about the situation, thinking that the guard might come back. Iko is just happy that he managed to hide, but remarks that, surprisingly, the clothes suit him. However, our guy says that's not a compliment. The girl remarks that Iko should not cause so much trouble. He rushes toward her, thanking her for being a wonderful person. Realize, the girl mentions that her girls will be sad if they cannot hear his songs. She says she can do nothing but provide shelter, and that they have prepared a room for him. So it would be better for him to rest for now. Iko comments that this should be enough and that they are in debt. Perhaps they could pay with a beautiful love song for the night. Ika simply replies that the song would have to last 20 years. At the same time, in the streets in front of the brothel, the guards continued to search for them, leaving Iko anxious. Iko questions what exactly he did. Our boy just retorts, saying it's none of his business. Iko becomes intrigued and wants to know since he saved him twice. But our guy says he didn't ask for his help, which irritates Iko, stating that it's the only thing about him that makes him seem like a prince. Our guy is truly grateful for being saved, but he asks Iko not to get involved with him any more than he already has. Iko questions the reason. Our guy says it's something dangerous, and that if someone tries to do something for him, bad things will happen. But Iko doesn't seem worried about it at all. Iko says that, if that is the case, then he should understand the situation better. It wasn't him who did it, and his reason is enough to justify all this. Our guy says he doesn't have any money or anything like that to pay, but Iko says none of that is necessary. Iko comments that he wants a song about our protagonist, which leaves him intrigued. Saying that he sings all kinds of songs, love songs, war songs, he sings because he is a bard, and everyone loves his music. But the song he most desires is one that tells the truth about the things happening in the world, and that he is very close to a great truth. That is why, while he is by your side, he wants to know and, someday, be able to sing that song. Our guy asks if he is going crazy for taking such risks just for this. Echo retorts, saying that, for him, this is something truly important and that, if he gives him his song, he will do anything within his power for him. Then, he questions him about what he will do next. Our guy wonders if he can really trust this guy. He would like to see Orsolito one more time. Echo bursts into happiness, saying that there is an agreement, but our guy questions it, stating that he hasn't said anything yet. Echo comments that there is a lot our boy doesn't know about the world, like that ring, for example, and asks how much he thinks he could buy with that ring. Our guy replies that he imagines about 10 people. But Iko says that the correct answer would be around 10,000 people. Time passes while they keep talking. Echo says he will probably die if he tries something alone. Iko asks how long he is going to keep wearing that dress, questioning whether he liked it so much. Our guy just replies that he doesn't know how to take it off. Meanwhile, Orsolito realizes that his captor will be the person overseeing him today, and it almost feels like a joke. He barely noticed, but soon everyone around him became loyal servants to Legion. In the middle of the night, he managed to escape. A beautiful night with a big moon in the sky. He needed to uncover the truth there. He arrived at the royal quarters, saying that he needed to speak with his father, but soon a hand interrupted him. Lagan appears there, questioning why Prince Orsolito enjoys taking walks at night so much. Some time later, in the district of Sana, at the royal tomes, people realize that the gates are closing. It is said that, due to the fear of recent events and knowing that the rebel has disappeared, they are allowing passage only to those with identification by orders of the Lords of Orbis. After a long conversation, Echo realizes that our boy has been through a lot and questions why Prince Hector ended up being killed, despite having good ideals. Our boy, in frustration, realizes that he cannot talk about it, as he imagines that his brother held great pride, so he says he doesn't know. Iko comments that the council is behind everything and that it can be dangerous to try to enter the district. So now, it depends on how quickly his wounds can heal so that he can escape. Our boy doesn't understand what he is saying and questions, since guards are everywhere. Iko says that it really is impossible to use force, but there are also other ways to fight besides using a sword. Iko starts by telling our boy to rest. He tries to reach him, but is interrupted by the woman there. She mentions that the work for the wounded is over there and directs him to another place. She explains to him to remove the apple peels and then peel the potatoes, and that way she will allow him to eat for free. And if he doesn't like it, he can entertain the customers. Thinking for a moment, he goes into shock. She then hands him a bouquet of flowers, leaving him puzzled about the reason. She explains that it's from a soldier who saw him the day before, who wanted to see our boy, who panicked. Some time later, the soldiers question the reason for the commotion and soon realize that it's a bard playing in the block. Questioning whether they should disperse them, the other comments that there is no need, since everyone needs entertainment, as they cannot freely leave the city. Echo continues singing his song, while people gather around him. They soon realize it is a song inspired by the late Prince Hector, questioning why a great person had to die. They comment that it is a very sad story, and that, beyond his death, there also seems to be a great conspiracy involved. To everyone gathered here, I would like you to keep this a secret. This is a story I heard from a young nobleman, a friend of mine. This rebellious young man, whom the guards are after, is not actually a rebel. He discovered the truth about the death of Prince Hector and is being hunted because of it. But he is no ordinary boy. He is being treated coldly just because his mother is a consort, a normal person like us. At that time, he was known as the third in line of succession. His name was Prince Belka. Meanwhile, the current crown prince asks for the door to be opened. But they say they need to give you time to think, and that you should choose your actions better. He keeps asking Lagan to open the door, questioning what he is planning. He just remains silent, and he asks what he prefers to follow the path with him, or become something that only has your physical appearance. Lagan comments that he should be watched, as he might try to escape. The guard remembers that Princess Muska sent a gift to Ursulito. Lagan gets annoyed and asks for someone to be sent back so that she stops interfering. The prince was saddened because everyone around him had always been kind, and he believed that the future would be good. Bound, he seeks a way to cut the rope, hurrying to tell the truth to everyone. Sometime later, the prince approaches the commander, saying that Lagan was the one who killed his brother. The commander asks him to calm down, as it has been a long time since Lagan has appeared at the barracks. He believes this seems too far-fetched to be a joke. He retorts that it's not a joke, that is sure because he heard it himself. In addition, he also talks about Belka. The commander says that what he saw is just a bad dream, as he has been through a lot and needs to rest a bit. But the prince says it wasn't a dream, and that it happened on the night of the funeral. The commander approaches and says that, yes, it was just a dream. The prince approaches another place, goes to his former teacher, questioning if he saw the letter he sent the day before, asking for advice. But there, some nurses comment that his teacher fell ill that morning and is in bed. The prince is shocked to realize that he is just a pawn and that, in the end, he is only alive because they allow him to live. He wonders what he should do, since he's still there. So, there must be something he can do to protect his sister and to keep the promise he made to Belka. In a closed room, he finds a path that leads to a wall of books. Meanwhile, on the streets, people wonder if they have heard about the rumor of Prince Belka's rumor. They question whether the prince had not recently returned to his home. The other replies that no one confirmed that Belka was in the carriage. Not to mention that this desperation to find that rebel seems excessive. It seems, then, that they are trying to hide something. And perhaps the murder of Prince Hector could have been orchestrated by someone. A lord of the council soon learns that the entire town is spreading a rumor that a bard told in the district. One of the soldiers remarks that a bard's song is just a song and eventually they will lose interest. He imagines that no other rumor has spread so quickly in the city, but the soldier comments that it is natural for legends to be created by the restrictions imposed and that, perhaps, they are effects of the recent tensions. The lord questions whether the soldier is saying it is his fault. He thinks that if the rumor spreads from there, it could affect his position, and that he cannot allow anyone to look down on the Orbis family. Then, he orders them to get rid of the bard. Some time later, the soldier arrives at the camp and comments that he received orders to execute the bard immediately. The other questions the intention, wondering if it wouldn't be better to just banish him from there. The commanding soldier orders them to be quiet, and they apologize, but he knows that something is happening behind the scenes. It's not just about the bard, it is also related to the rebel. Meanwhile, a soldier appears at the brothel, calling for Maribel. Our boy questions who she is. The guard apologizes for asking for something, even knowing she is not feeling well, and asks if it would be too much to ask her to accept it. The madam says he wanted to see her, no matter what it was, since he just wanted to talk. Let him in, he'll leave it to you, Maribel. The soldier thanks her for it. He questions what will happen if they find out. Soon he reads the phrase engraved on receiving the gift through, "My beloved, your gentle breeze in this great world," commenting that these are passionate words. He questions whether she can read what is written there. He wonders if it's not normal to be able to read. Questioning the man if there is something wrong with it. He comments that his word choices are very refined, as if they were from a high-class family, and that it is a pity she is in a place like this. Maribel comments that he is working so hard even in the afternoon, but deep down he was worried. The soldier asks if she could listen to his story, saying that he is a great coward and that he could even tell Mater Sanger. He says she can listen if she wants. He states that he is about to kill a bard. Our boy soon realizes what it's about. He continues, saying he needs to surround with troops and eliminate an unarmed person, questioning whether this is truly the desire of a man who has dedicated his life to serving the king's cavalry, and whether this is what he should do. Maribel asks if this person has hair tied back, and he says yes, asking if she knows him, stating that he is spreading a rumor about the viceroy. Maribel questions where he is. The doubtful soldier asks if it's about the bard, saying he was in the town square. She stands up and suddenly grabs the soldier's sword. Rushing out, he heads towards the bard, holding the soldier's sword. He in turn stands there, stunned to discover that he was a boy. Upon realizing the age, one wonders if he could be the rebel. And what if it is the rebel who saved the old man at the gates? Our guy keeps trying to move, but has out of breath because he hasn't fully recovered. He had already mentioned that it was dangerous and asks why Eiko is getting involved in this. Meanwhile, the soldiers surround Echo, questioning if he is the bard who is spreading rumors and disrupting the peace of Sana. They command him to come quietly. He remarks that a song disappears as soon as the day ends, just like an illusion, and that the superiors shouldn't care about it. But the guards waste no time and say he can explain himself in prison. Our boy arrives, tired, at the door, asking them to wait. People recognize him as the boy who saved the old man, certain that he is Prince Belka. The others also intervene, saying that now they understand why they are arresting the bard. People intervene, saying to let them go so they won't be detained. Surrounding the soldiers, a man guides the bard through a place to escape. But the bard is soon surrounded by the passage. He comments that fighting is not good. The soldiers say that this is not the look of an ordinary person, questioning whether they should kill him now. Echo thinks this was not part of the plans. The soldiers say that, with all this rain, it would be easy to clean up all the mess later. But at that moment, our boy comes running and leaps towards Eiko, knocking down a guard. The soldier questions why a woman is fighting. But our guy just knocks him down, saying he didn't have time to change. He quickly grabs Eiko by the hand, saying they need to get out of there soon. Eiko looks surprised by this. Our protagonist just questions what he is planning. By going out and spreading those rumors, is he trying to kill himself soon? Eiko whispers, commenting that he doesn't know what he would do if he couldn't see him again. He continues to be surprised as he says that there are still many things he expects from him by his side. When our friend questions what he said, Eiko simply thanks him for saving him. A little further ahead, they realize that they are in a dead end. This frustrates our boys, as they cannot escape through this path. They have no option but to go back and try their luck. It's at that moment that someone appears behind them. The soldier from before thanks them for coming this way, calling them by name. This is an order or you will die here. The soldier throws a suitcase to our guy, who questions the reason. The soldier speaks about Eiko, calling him a demagogue who took the piece from Sana and his accomplice. In the name of the royal guards of Sana, I will give you their end. The other soldiers watch from the side as the two are wounded. They fall into the water. When the other soldiers appear, they see only the blood and greet the captain for his deeds. Sorry for not being of help, but he soothes them, since they were able to help the bard. Eiko is tired and wonders if he can take a vacation already. The captain calls them idiots, because it would have been better to kill them in prison. But since they are unreliable, he ended up having to go too far. One of the girls from the tavern questions Reicheleis about the backpack she gave to the soldier. She replies that inside were the boy's clothes and a dead chicken. Still confused, the girl doesn't understand, so Reicheleis explains that the chicken's blood had not yet been drained. That soldier seemed so honest that she thought this would be useful for him, but because of that, they would be left without food the next day. Meanwhile, the Crown Prince, reading the books, questions why the books are so old. Their grammar was so ancient that he could barely read them. But, upon closer inspection, he reads that the mountain was made as a resource for slaves, a cordial feast as a massacre of the last king of the mountain people. The mountain people referred to themselves as Hawklair, black skin, white hair. He then realizes that it seems to be referring to the Amontel. Soon he realizes that the other sequel books are missing. Many are torn and missing pages. The murder of Rovisco, despite the title, the rest is in an old language. He questions if this is a true story and soon realizes that these were things they didn't want others to see. He soon notices a map of Azalprade, believing that Rietz could be referring to the hero king. But he had not heard of Rovisco. Soon, Lagan returned to the room, asking if they had already made up their minds. The prince comments that he was waiting for him. Lagan questions how he managed to untie himself, but the prince says he wants to ask something. He commented on the people of Azalprade calling the Amontel monsters, questioning the truthfulness. He responds that yes and questions the reason for the question. He realizes that it is not a created story. Placing the book on the table, he asks if he knows anything about the name Rovisco. Upon viewing the pages of these files, Lagan questions whether they could be originals. The prince comments that he seems interested in this. Lagan comments that he doesn't know where he found this, but it's not something he should worry about. But the prince, in a serious manner, says that he has something to discuss.